Hey y'all, Paul with DG Edit. Got a Drifter Plus from Costco, and this is how you lock the diffs permanently. You just take out the body. You gotta kind of get on there and pry, and it'll pop loose. And then there'll be plug for the lights that goes down into the ECU. You just unplug that, body aside. There'll be this cover here, 2 Phillips screws. Take that off, and you'll have to loosen the battery, or keep the battery out of the way. And then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 screws, and it holds this on. And then you just pop it off and then run the battery through it. It's hard one-handed. I guess you gotta disconnect the servo as well. It'll pop up with it. It goes right here. I've been playing in the house, it's got a lot of dog hair on it. But then to get the diffs out, you take these 4 screws out and these 4 screws out, and this will pop off. This comes off, and it'll pull out. There's just 2 spots for the steering link, and it's got a hole for the bottom, kind of like a control arm. And then the little dog bone will come out of the diff. You just take this apart, and this just comes out like this. Now take the back apart. Back is the same way. It's got 2 holes for the bottom of the stud and everything, and it's got the dog bone that'll come out the rear end. Just take this out. Boom. Rear ends are out. Now, take the diffs apart. Take those 3 screws out, and it pops apart. Alright, now the 3 screws are out, comes apart. Fine if those things come out. They're just the little dog gears, planetary gears, whatever you want to call them. It's got those 3 little dudes, and the way it is, that gear spins on this and makes it an open diff pretty much. And then when you're in forward, it's basically locked. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take some Gorilla Glue, fill that up with Gorilla Glue, and then mash it back together and put the screws back in. When you do put the diffs back in after you've glued them, there's a little divot on the side. This goes on that side. And it just slides down. It's got a little place for the bearings to go in. Same in the back. That's about as much glue as I put in there. I put it back together, and I twist it a little bit, and then I put the screws back in. That way I can get the glue in there, so it sets up and it locks it. Hurry so you don't. So you can wipe off sometimes excess glue will go out. I just wipe it on my pants. But there you go. And then it'll dry and it'll be locked. Put it back in there. Just like that. Boom, lock diffs. If you were to get confused when putting it back together, the diff covers have front, back. So, can't get confused that way. Also, if you take it apart, can't get this back together, These only go on one side, so if you try to put it on this side, it won't work. This side's for this side. If your drive shaft ends up coming out, it's got little bearings on it that go and they slide into the. They got a little bearing holder in there too. It's hard to do one-handed. But it just slides down in there, and there's one over here, slides into there, it locks in. And then your steering link, your servo, just locks into that, and it's got little slots, pushes in. That's it, that's all it is. And then whenever you put that back on, you can hook it up to the computer or your speed controller or whatever you want to call it. And then so whenever putting this cover back on, you put it in, you put one dog bone in, you put the two pieces down in the holes, and then you'll set this on top of that. And then once you get this one, don't drop the spring like I just did. Dang it. And after searching for 5 minutes trying to find this little dude, you put it back on. And then you'll just turn the wheel until it'll line up in the slots. Stick it in there. Kind of pick up on it so you can put it back together. Slide it and then put the screws back in it. What I usually do before I put it all the way back together, turn it on, and then do a little test. There we go. It still spins. Whenever you put this back on, just feed it back up. Feed this battery back, just like that. And you can put the screws back in it. Also note that the front screws are bigger than those. They're a little longer, and you got a little bit bigger head on them too. Same with these screws. These two. Alright, now that you got all your screws in, put this battery back down. There. Cover back on it. Screws in. And once you put the body back on, you can plug that back in right there. And then, boom, put that on, line up the pins. Just like that, and then they snap in. And there you go. That's how you lock the diffs on these permanently. Now it's much more controllable.